This is just a warning that I am editing this on my iPhone because I have to, so it's gonna be really shitty. I'm sorry.
Glasses? Or no glasses? We're going with glasses. That's what we're doing. Hey, what's up, guys? It's TMG here. Gosh, I'm happy to be back, and on Christmas, no less. So, for anyone out there, well, I'm recording this on Christmas. It's most likely gonna come out like a week afterwards because I take really long to fucking edit shit. Because I'm just lazy as fuck. So, to anyone out there, Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, depending on what you celebrate or what you don't celebrate. But yeah. So it's Christmas morning and I'm not doing shit and I have a whole bunch of energy for no reason. So I was thinking I might as well record a video in which I'm just gonna get pissed the fuck off. Because today we'll be looking at r/LGB without the T.
Hold up there. It's actually called LGB, not LGBT without T. I don't know what the fuck I was going for there. I'm stupid. I'm sorry. It's called LGB, drop the T. Alright?
Now, if you don't know what LGB... wow, I can't say LGB without saying the T. Like, it just sounds weird. Like, just saying LGB and not saying the T just sounds fucking weird to me, so I don't know how you can... Anyway, LGB without the T is a small subreddit of people who, at least in their description, just say that they believe that LGB, which is lesbian, gay, and bi, and trans people should be separate from each other because together it doesn't really make any sense to have them together because one's talking about sexuality and one's talking about gender, and that them two coexisting together as one big movement just harms both sides of the argument. When you first think of this idea, it does sound kind of reasonable. But then when you look into the community for more than 2 fucking seconds and look past the description, you see they're really just a bunch of transphobic people trying to kick trans people out of the LGBT community. So, today, we're going to look at a few posts that I screenshotted down here on my laptop. And I'm gonna break them down with you, you know? I'm gonna rant about this shit and tell you why these people are just a bunch of transphobic assholes. Without further ado, let's get started because I think that ranting is something that I'm better at than talking. Why is rejecting people because of their gender bad? Even just the title of this is kind of ignorant, but we'll talk about that later because this is a long-ass fucking post. So, on the subreddit, I keep seeing things about transgender people freaking out about being rejected because of their biological sex. What I don't get is how is this really a bad thing for anyone? Yes, it might hurt the transgender people a little bit for a while, but in the end, it's better for the person who rejected them and the transgender person. An example of why they didn't get rejected would suck for both parties is if a transgender lesbian dates a lesbian who doesn't want anything to do with biological males. The lesbian would be extremely uncomfortable, upset, and not able to love the transgender person in the way the transgender person wants, which would also suck for the transgender person because they would probably notice and not feel loved, which would also probably cause some mental harm. As you can see, it's a lose-lose situation for both, where they're feeling horrible about themselves and they're in a somewhat damaging relationship. However, the transgender person doesn't freak out when rejected and doesn't try to insult, send threats, and harass people, changing their minds and moves on. They can meet more people faster. They'll probably find someone who will actually be willing to date them much faster if they spend who knows how long harassing another person. You know how they keep comparing and rejecting people because of their gender to rejecting people based off their race? Well, personally, at least, I've never seen an entire online group of color freak out complaining of being rejected because of their race. So if rejecting someone because of their sexuality is nearly as bad as rejecting someone because of their race, how can people of different races call the people racist but otherwise don't commonly send death threats and harass people? I'm sorry, I talk really fast and sometimes I get tongue-tied. I think what this person is trying to imply is that every single trans person, if they're rejected by a cis person for being trans, immediately goes out and starts harassing people, which just isn't true. Most trans people, if they feel like they're in a situation where they're attracted to a person that is transphobic or doesn't like trans people, would probably stay away from that person. I mean, I'm not gonna speak for every transgender person ever, because unlike this person, I'm not a generalizing asshole. But like, I mean, I'm not gonna call them an asshole. I don't think they're an asshole. I think they're just confused. I think that this person is legitimately just confused. I'm not gonna call them an asshole. The assholes are later. I'm not gonna sit here and stay with the person who's transphobic and then harass them. Like, bitch, if you're transphobic, I'm gonna mind my fucking business. Like, what am I with you for? Like, that makes no sense to me. For some reason, people are trying to throw this narrative around that, like, transgender people hate it when they get rejected because they're like, oh yeah, like,
well, if I'm a lesbian, I don't want a fucking dick.
What we're saying is not that if we don't have the genitalia you want and you reject us for that you're inherently transphobic. What we're saying is, if I say I'm trans and you have not seen my genitalia yet, and that's the reason that you stop being attracted to someone, maybe you're a little transphobic. Okay, y'all not gonna be able to tell, but my whole ass phone just like fell off. My whole ass phone just fell down as I was getting pissed the fuck off. So someone don't want me to make this video, but you know what? Fuck it. I'm also getting hot, so I'm gonna pull up my fucking sleeves. I'm gonna give you a scenario. Say I'm trying to date somebody. Go up to a guy. Say to the guy, oh yeah, I'm attracted to you, you know, what's up, blah, blah, blah. They're like, they look at me, think I'm Dominican or something. Like they look at me, they think I'm Dominican or something. They don't think I'm black. They think I'm Dominican. Walk up to them, they flirting with me and shit, and then I'm like, oh yeah, my family's black, something like that. And then he goes, oh nah, I can't date black people, because black people always be in the hood and shooting up people and blah, blah, blah. That would be a racial bias. They're rejecting me, not just because I'm black, but because they also have inherent assumptions about black people. It's the same thing with trans people. Most people that are rejecting trans people aren't because specifically they're trans. It's because they have inherent assumptions about trans people. In other words, they're fucking transphobic. As I said, people can have preferences. Like, just because you don't like someone's genitalia doesn't, and you reject someone because you don't like their genitalia, doesn't mean you're a bad person. But if you reject someone just off the basis that they used to be a girl and now they're a guy, or they used to be a guy and now they're a girl, then that is transphobia at its finest. Now this next one kind of makes me laugh, because I love it when transphobic cisgender people get so triggered when we use just the word cis for them. And this is a prime example of someone just using, like someone just getting pissed off that we're using the word cis. Alright, so it's titled, I'm over this cis bullshit. I refuse to identify as a cis lesbian. I am a gay person. I am a lesbian. That's all. End of. Not only does bullying people into identifying as something that's ridiculous in the first place, it once again feeds their narcissism by making everything about them. Like, there's such a small percentage of the population, but now we all have to tell people if we're trans or not? Like, no. Fuck that. My identity has nothing to do with being transgender or not. I shouldn't be forced to explain to people who I am in regards of a group of people who have nothing to do with me. They are more than welcome to shout from the rooftops to everyone and anyone that they're super special trans. And let's face it, we all know they will, but I won't. Not everything is about them. And the more we make freaking everything about, not everything is about them. And the more we all indulge in the cis trans pronouns garbage, the more we make freaking everything about them. I'm so tired of all this. I'm getting bored, and this really isn't all that interesting. So I'm saying I'm done with cisness, sisters, or whatever other cis shit they come up next. I am a lesbian, and that's all anybody ever really needs to know. And frankly, it's not the world's business either. These people need to grow the fuck up. So cis. And I don't mean like cis, I mean cis. Cis. It's really fucking hilarious how you're saying that trans people make everything about them and their transness, and in this entire post, you're making everything about you and your lesbianness. I'm not sure what type of preconceived notions you have about trans people, but the majority of us kind of just want to live a normal life, so most of us aren't going to be shouting we're trans from the rooftops, because half the time that will get us fucking killed. Why do people act like us asking them to do simple things like use the correct pronouns, or use the correct name, or, I don't know, not be a fucking piece of shit, suddenly means that they have to bend over backwards for all of us? You really don't. We're literally just asking you to use the right pronouns 98% of the time. No one's trying to force you to say that you're cisgender from the rooftops. No trans person is like, you have to tell everybody that you're cisgender because our lives depend on it. And then what's with all this narcissism bullshit? Like, dude, do you think we're just identifying as trans to be special snowflakes? Like, that's such a weird concept to me, because, bitch, if I wanted to be discriminated against, I'm already black. Like, I didn't need to add another layer onto that. I mean, I don't have it as bad because I'm a trans guy, but, like, you think I wanted to just walk out on these streets and just be discriminated against? Like, do you think that was my dream or something? Last time I checked, most people don't choose to be fucking oppressed. And I don't really get how it's narcissism or how we're making everything about us. The reason that you're seeing transgender people more is because you have more rights than we do. We hardly have rights. We're still fighting for rights. There's literally been a string of murders of transgender women. We literally were barely recognized for the longest time. There's still many, many states where it's fucking hard as shit for us to get on hormones, or to get surgeries, or to even be legally recognized at all. There's places across the world where you can still be being killed, you can still be killed by trans people. And sure, there's definitely places across the world where you can be killed for being gay, but there's more places where you can be killed for being trans. So yeah, you're gonna hear about trans people a lot more. We're trying to get rights, just like you guys were trying to get rights. It kind of sounds like they're getting mad because everything's not about LGB anymore. It's LGBT. You know what I'm saying? It kind of seems like they're getting pissed off that the movement isn't surrounded around just them anymore, that there's trans people who are also trying to gain rights and they're taking the spotlight away from them. Now, this last thing's a fucking doozy. It's funny because a lot of these people in this subreddit, to other people outside of the subreddit, try to claim that they don't hate trans people or they're not transphobic. They just believe it should be a separate movement. But then you go to this thread, which is literally at the top of the subreddit, and then you look at them like, bitch, what? Like, how can you claim to not be transphobic and then say shit like this? Why do you want to drop the T? Right now, we're a small group of people who fiercely believe that LGB and T need to be separated. We need to start acting in real life, no matter how big or small. Wake up the rest of the world to the fact that the LGB alphabet soup isn't us, will never be us, and it's not right now, and it's not right how this not right how they're representing us. I told you, I can read, but I speak too fast. Even when I try to speak slow, it's not working. Hell, the TQ plus community has even isolated their own trans members. That's their problem, but it's certainly relevant. Let me stop you right there. I think that most communities have infighting. And sure, there's definitely a lot more infighting within the trans community than there is in a lot of other communities. But I think that most communities have infighting, and just because they have infighting doesn't make their opinions or what they say any less valid. Talk now. Here, tell us your reasons why you think that LGB needs to drop the T. I'm gonna be real with you, Chief. I know I'm gonna keep stopping while I'm reading this because this is long as fuck, but like, LGB drop the T kind of has a whole ass beat to it. Like, that kind of, not gonna front, that's kind of bars. Like, LGB drop the T, like, catchy ass name. I give you that. Talk now. Here, Tell us your reasons why you think LGB needs to drop the T. Don't hold back, just say it. If AutoMod catches you in filters rules, ignore it. I and other mods are watching this thread and will reapprove anything as long as it's not hateful towards protected classes or specific members. There are over 7,600 of you here now, and while I'm certain there's subscribers who want to reiterate how others how transphobic we are, the fact that we grow more than 1,000 members each month tells there's so many more of us out there just wanting our direction, inspiration, and message of hope. They need to hear that they're not alone. Tell us about it. Why do you want to drop the T? I don't know what hope they're giving by spreading so much hate, because they're gonna sit there and try to say they're not spreading hate, but then 90% of the shit that I find up here are them calling trans people narcissists, or saying that we're special snowflakes, or saying that we're delusional, or saying that we're not real, or saying that like other type shit like that. And how is invalidating somebody else's existence giving hope into the world? The first most upvoted answer on this subreddit is because they co-opted the gay rights movement and made it about them. Not I think there's a lot more, wow. Not that I think there's a lot more, I'm guessing that that's what I think. That's what they're trying to say. Not that I think there's a lot more work left to do on the gay rights front, but you're not allowed to talk about being gay anymore than without being inclusive of trans people, i.e. sucking the girl dick or eating out the man pussy. If you want to dress up as a man because it makes you feel better about yourself, have at it. That's your right. But I'm not obligated, and I shouldn't be obligated to pretend you're a man, or even further, to find you attractive or want to have sex with you. So let's break this shit down. Because clearly, this isn't just about not wanting the gay rights movement to be hijacked by trans people. You clearly are transphobic. The real meat and potatoes here comes when you say, if I want to dress up as you want to dress up as a man because it makes you feel better about yourself. Nigga, if I want to dress up as a man, do you see my face? Or even further, to find you attractive or want to have. First of all, I'm just gonna say, I don't think any of us want to fucking have sex with you. Because you're a piece of shit. Like, I don't understand why anybody, no one's asking, no one's begging at your knees to fuck you. We don't want you. Stay where the fuck you at. You're sitting here acting like people are pretending to be men. Hold on. Cause quick longer rant. What I don't understand with a lot of these people is that they want to sit there and spout that trans people are delusional, that trans people are pretending, when we have actual scientific evidence to back up to back up the fact that trans people exist and that gender dysphoria is real and stuff like that. Like, the definition of delusional is believing something regardless of all evidence to prove contrary. And I'll put the actual definition up here if I didn't get it exactly correct. But that's basically what being delusional is. We have several scientific studies to back up that trans people exist, that gender dysphoria exists, that they're trying to figure out maybe why people are transgender and stuff like that, but they're still studying that stuff. But the basic scientific consensus is that we exist. But then some asshole on the internet wants to try and say that we're all delusional and that we're all faking it because reasons? Because as far as I know, I have not seen not one valid piece of scientific proof that shows that trans people don't actually exist and that we're just delusional or spouting nonsense or mentally ill. But I've seen hundreds of studies showing that trans people actually exist, or that gender dysphoria actually exists, and I'll put like 10 of them, 10 of them in the fucking description if any of y'all want to read it and try to dispute me. But it's hilarious how many people want to sit there and try to act like trans people aren't fucking real, or that trans people are faking it, or that trans people are delusional, when we actually have evidence to back it up, and you don't have any evidence to back up anything that you fucking say. So once you give me mad pieces of scientific proof that show me that trans isn't real, that I'm just delusional, that I'm just making all this shit up, that my gender dysphoria that contributed significantly to my decline in mental health was fucking fake, then maybe I'll fucking talk to you. Maybe I'll fucking have an argument with you. Maybe I'll debate with you. Maybe I'll switch sides with you. I don't know. Maybe I'll detransition or some shit. Like, I don't know. But until then, maybe you should Google shit instead of spouting ignorant bullshit online. Next response. I simply don't want to be associated with them. They are fighting a totally different fight and I don't want to be a part of it. They also, well, they're fighting a totally different fight I don't want to be a part of. Whatever. This person is saying that the stuff that trans people are spouting is harmful because homophobic and transphobic people are using it as ammo against fucking gay people and trans people? Sis, I don't think that's an issue with trans people. I think that's an issue with your fucking family. If your family is trying to say, oh, I don't like these damn gays because these damn gays are just gender confused and they're trying to erase gender and blah, 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 blah. Why are you blaming the victims? Why are you blaming the people who just want equal rights instead of blaming your homophobic, transphobic ass family? Like, you're sitting here getting mad at trans people instead of getting mad at your family? And you're thinking that the rights of gay people are being hindered by trans people and not by homophobic people with their heads up their asses? I'm sorry, but that don't make no sense to me. At all. Like, sis, talk to your family. Talk to your family. Because even if trans people didn't exist, if they didn't want to support gay people, they would find another reason not to. Just because trans people, the only reason that they're using trans people is because trans people are there. And they're transphobic too. If trans people weren't there, they would find another reason to reject gay people. Like, they'll be like, oh, yeah, gay people do blah, 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 blah. Oh, yeah, that anal sex. You heard of anal? Yeah, that's some wild shit. Just because they're using trans people now doesn't mean that if trans people suddenly were separated from the community that they would be less homophobic. Your parents and grandparents are still going to be homophobic regardless if trans people were part of the community or separated from the community. Sorry to break the news to you. Next response. Because they've lost their fucking minds. What I want and believe we should have is equal rights to everyone else. We should have the right to get married, legal protection from discrimination, etc. That the trans community wants a super special protected class that is absolutely shielded from any form of criticism. As individuals, the trans people are generally okay, but their community is shit. It's time to get out of the car. I'm sorry. I kind of fell off halfway through that because it's kind of sad to me how high of a layer of privilege that this person sits on to think that trans people are just absolutely fucking fine. We're not. Let me, short story. I've been out as trans. I just started transitioning this year. But I've been out as trans for, maybe a year or two. And, well, 2 years about, yeah, a year or two. And I legitimately did not start using the guys' bathroom until this year. Why, you may ask? Because I was scared that someone would either, one, call me out, which has actually happened before, or two, actually fucking jump me. Also, not sure if I had to say this again, but there are trans women being literally fucking murdered. There's still places where they can be legally fired from their jobs for identifying as transgender. They just want people to bend over backwards for them, even though they're literally being fucking murdered. Even though there was a law in place that literally said that if you're trapping a man into sleeping with them and they end up going into a rage and killing you, that they could literally get off scot-free.
Correction, you can't get off scot-free. You get a reduced charge. This is just Taj ranting about Taj stuff. Sorry.
Trans people are absolutely fine. We just lost our fucking minds. We just want more rights. We just want a pedestal to sit on. No, that's not how it works. That's not what we want. We're still being discriminated against to this day. There is a lot more transphobic people than there are homophobic people. And it sucks. It literally sucks to be a trans person in America. Because you don't know if you're going to go down the street and someone's going to find out you're trans and fucking jump you. You don't know if you're going to go down the street and you don't know if you're going to go to a job and be outed at your job and get fired because of it. You don't know what type of hate you're going to face from other people for being fucking trans. And sure, gay people definitely get discriminated against too. I'm not saying they don't, but I'm saying that being gay is generally more accepted at this point in time than being trans is. And don't try to act like it fucking isn't. Like, clearly, you don't know anything. Clearly, you're just ignorant to the situation. Because last time I checked, us simply asking to be able to use the bathroom without being discriminated against, or to not get fired from our jobs, or to just be recognized as the gender that we are, or to be legally protected if someone decides to beat us to death in the streets, that is equal rights. Just last time I checked, I don't know. Maybe I don't know shit. Maybe I don't know shit. But I don't see how any of that is bending over backward. All of the emotion just drained from me, because honestly, it's just sad to me. It's just, at some point, the anger just fades, and it just gets sad that people just can't listen to people when they're talking. Like, I feel like people want to do everything in their power to not listen to trans people when they talk, or to say that they're delusional and that they shouldn't be listened to and all this other shit, and then continue to spout this ignorant transphobic shit just out of willful ignorance. And I think that that's the real problem here. It's just willful fucking ignorance. Because instead of actually wanting to listen to people, they continue to spout false information. And it's like half of these people clearly just have never interacted with a trans person in their fucking life. Like, at all. They just never met a trans person, never talked to a trans person. They never looked a trans person dead in the face. Like, never had a conversation with a trans person. Clearly. Like, like, that's literally, I feel like if they actually had met a trans person, also actually talk to them. Don't talk to me, because honestly, I tolerate some shit, but if you're telling me that I'm not real and that I'm delusional and shit, then I'm probably not gonna want to talk to you. Don't talk to me. Yeah, if these people just went out and actually talked to people, or even online, just actually had a legit conversation with people where they actually listened to what people were saying, instead of just assuming that we want to be special snowflakes, or that we're delusional, or that other dumb shit like that, then a lot of these people would kind of immediately be fine. Like, they wouldn't be like this. They wouldn't be transphobic. And this is just kind of a greater, it just kind of greaterly shows, that's not a fucking word. It just kind of shows how ignorant a lot of hateful people really just are. Like, it's not even like hate, it's just ignorance. Anyway, I think I've had just about enough of this subreddit, because honestly, I'm tired and I've lost so much faith in humanity. No, I haven't. I haven't lost faith in humanity. This is just a small subreddit of people. They're only about 7,000 strong. But it hurts me to see that I have to reiterate so much shit that trans people have been saying, because people just insist on not listening to trans people whenever they fucking talk. So, here you have it. My long ass rant. My throat hurts. I'm gonna sign off. Alright, so happy holidays, y'all. That was my Christmas. This is TMG signing out. Peace.